Hey, everybody. You know, it does not surprise me that the Worlds Collide crossover is getting a mixture of reviews. Some good, some bad. But I think the biggest thing that's getting a lot of fans a little mixed around, kind of basically giving this review, well, not this review, but this crossover, the mixed reviews that it's getting, is the Roboticized Masters. Now, as I mentioned before, you know, I already gave my thoughts on the fact that, when you're doing a crossover and basically saying that all these characters are going to meet, that's a good thing. But when you come out and you basically have a majority of the characters on one side turned into what has become known as Roboticized Masters for a majority of the arc, then that's not really saying that they're crossing over with the other characters. That's just saying, hey, here's a crossover, here's the characters, and that's it. Now, a lot of people might say, well, they are sort of crossing over. They're combining the Robot Master technology and the Roboticizer technology. Boom, there you go. Yeah, I get that. And obviously now it looks like everybody is going to be meeting up with each other finally. However, speaking of the Roboticized Masters, now, again, as I mentioned before, and I think a lot of people would agree, yes, having them around gives Mega Man and Sonic more of an obstacle to go through to try to get to Eggman and Wily and whatnot. But here's the problem that a lot of people are having with the Roboticized Masters, and it's not the fact of who they are. It's basically the fact that they are so easily defeated, and that's why the title says it there. Why are the Roboticized Masters easily defeated? And I can kind of get where a lot of these people are coming from when they wonder why create or why turn characters like Amy, Knuckles, Silver, Blaze, Shadow, the Chaotix, possibly Rouge, which I don't know is going to happen or not. But basically, why turn these characters into Roboticized Masters if all you're going to do is revert them? All you're going to do is eventually just revert them back just like that. I mean, basically, when it was just a copy blast and a spin dash, both from Mega Man and Sonic, that caused the de-robotization, that was one thing. And believe it or not, people could accept that because it was like a two-part deal. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. I had to let the cat in the garage. But anyway, they could accept the two-part situation of, okay, here's a spin dash from Sonic, here's a copy chip blast from Mega Man to be the Restortion deal. But, what they can accept, what they cannot accept, well, some cannot, is the fact that now, all of a sudden, storyline-wise, story arc-wise, thanks to Tails, all Mega Man has to do is just blast a spin dash blast at whoever the Roboticized Master is, and boom, they're restored. Now, you might say, well, why do people have a problem with that? Well, because apparently it's too easy. It's too easy for them. I mean, essentially, the two last Roboticized Masters, in case nobody's ever read this part, this is spoilers. The two last Roboticized Masters are Amy and Knuckles. Now, we have to give credit where credit is due. The story did have it be a little bit more conflicting if not a little bit more dramatic, not much, but a little bit, to where basically Mega Man and Sonic were racing against time to save Knuckles and Amy, because basically as Knuckles Man and Rose Woman, they were basically they had the self-destruct mechanisms activated, basically saying countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, kaboom. You know. But of course, knowing the comic and knowing Sega, you know, that didn't happen. But point is, they were the last two, and some people were criticizing the fact that these last two were the last strongest one. That in many people's eyes are probably not the strongest characters, the most powerful ones, but yet were made out to be that way. Now, again, though, the problem that some fans have is the fact that the Roboticized Masters, as the title says, were defeated too easily. It's like Ian Flynn wrote in the story that the characters would be turned into Roboticized Masters, which would be intriguing in itself, but would be intriguing in itself, and kind of intriguing and interesting on how they'd be restored, but yet all of a sudden the whole hype up of who the Roboticized Masters are, how they're going to be restored kind of deal, all basically gets turned upside down because, they're just, as some fans put it, just blasted back to normal thanks to Deus Ex Machina. And I can understand why some fans don't like that, because it's too easy. It's like, if you're going to make these guys Roboticized Masters, give them more of a reason to be roboticized. Make it more harder for Sonic and Rock to try to restore these characters back to normal. My honest opinion, honestly, is I know why, they're easily defeated and why they're defeated and restored easily to normal. I know why, and I'm sure everybody else does. But I will be honest with you. If I was in Ian's place, or if I was Ian Flynn, I would have waited to at least 250. Yes, issue 250 of Sonic, even though it's part of the crossover, I would have waited to 250 to have each and every Roboticized Master restored. I would have, because it would have made 250 at least special enough to where it'd be worthy of being called an anniversary issue, even though it's part of a crossover. Even though it's just another part in the crossover, it would have been worthy, because here you would have Sonic and Rock and Proto Man and whoever else fighting against the Roboticized Masters and taking almost the length of that issue to restore each and every one of them. And quite honestly, I would have added for each and every one of those 8 Roboticized Masters the same plot device they added for Amy and Knuckles, and that's half self-destruction mechanisms activated with a countdown of maybe, let's say, 5 minutes. Basically have Sonic and Rock really race against time, because they would only have 5 minutes to save each and every one of them, unless they would have them blow up. That would create good conflict, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. But the problem is, folks, we're not the ones that have to get the okay to do this. Ian does. We're not the ones that say, okay, you can roboticize our characters and you could do this. No, Sega's the one that gives out those orders. And you see, Sega, they are the primary reason. Hold on for a second. There we go. Just untangling the cord a little bit. But they are the primary reason why the characters of Blaze, Shadow, Knuckles, the Chaotix, Silver, Tails, and possibly Rouge, if she gets turned into Rouge Woman, they Sega is the reason why these characters are restored so easily. You see, think about it this way. You're Ian Flynn, you're Paul Kamitsky, you get the okay to turn the characters into roboticized masters, but you get the condition that they have to be restored or, without no problems. They have to be restored just like that, And I know a lot of fans don't like that, but that's Sega's mandate. It's like, that's part of the agreement. It's like, okay, you can do it, but you have to have them restored just like that. You can't have them roboticized masters for most of the arc. You can't have them roboticized masters up to 250. No, they got to be restored within a limited time like that. Like that. Get what I'm saying? Hold on for a second. No, I was just checking. Our gardener's here. I don't know if he's going to do our lawn today or not. But anyway, like I said, um, it's basically Sega that has come out is basically the ones that have basically said, hey, you could do this, but you got to do it this way. But, it's like basically they're the ones that said, okay, you can do this, but you got to, within a certain time, do that to the characters. Restore them just like that. And there's a lot of people that don't like that. There's a lot of critics behind that. And honestly, I don't blame anybody for that. I don't. I don't blame some people that are upset with that. I don't blame those that are wondering why it's so quick. They're okay with it, but wonder why it's so quick. And again, like I said, it's basically Sega. It's Sega's mandates. Sega's the one that says, hey, you could do this. We have no problem with it. But guess what? You have to restore the characters within a certain amount of issues like that. I don't know. To me, I'm just guessing, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Again, though, if I was Ian Flynn, I would have waited to 250. Honestly, I would have. I would have done exactly what I mentioned. I would have had them all activate self-destruct mechanisms. I would have had them all have a countdown of 5 minutes and basically really have Rock and Sonic race against time to restore them. I mean, it's really be a tight race, if you know what I mean. But again, I'm not Ian Flynn. I'm not Sega. I'm not Archie Comics. I'm not Paul Kamitsky. And none of us are. None of us are. So we have to deal with the situation at hand. We have to deal with what we got. And we may not like, the fact that the roboticized masters are easily defeated. We may not like that. But we got to deal with it. We have to deal with it. Whether we like it or we don't like it, we have to deal with it. So that's all I'm going to say on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with the fact that the roboticized masters in the crossover have been defeated too easily? And do you think they could have at least waited until 250 to really to restore them and really give a reason to have them restored? Kind of give that conflict, that race against time. Let me know what you guys think below, and I'll talk to you later.